Is blank a viable champion in League of Legends? I get this question a lot, on stream, in various inboxes, on my Ask page. It seems like a lot of people who get into League often end up finding a champion that they enjoy playing or a champion that they like the look of, but get a little bit worried if that champion isn't popular in the meta, if it seems like they're the only ones who ever play them, or some of the pros never really play them on a consistent basis in competitive play. This is especially true if these people got into League coming from a competitive standpoint, people who found out about the game through the LCS or some sort of major tournament. So I thought I might address the issue today and answer all your questions about viability. When you take a look at tier lists or watch who the pros play in the LCS, what you're looking at is who everyone seems to think are the best, most viable champions in the game. However, you need to remember a few things when talking about the quote-unquote best champions, most notably the context of your conversations. Let's talk specifically about tier lists for a second. Tier lists in general are based around a few constant factors that you have to assume. Firstly, that everyone playing the game is equally skilled, and secondly, that each player in the game is equally skilled with every champion in the game, or at least those that they decide to play. So comparing this to the pro spectrum, most pro top laners are equally skilled with all the popular top lane champions, Shyvana, Renekton, Mundo, maybe Jax. If one pro picks Renekton and the other picks someone substantially worse or not as viable like Poppy, the Renekton will almost always win unless something crazy influences the lane like a camping jungler. This is also true for ranked. As much as we hate to think this and love to yell at our teammates, the ranked system in League matches us up with people who are pretty much the same skill level as the rest of us. If we're vastly superior to everyone in our game, then we'll win more games, climb in rank, and continue to climb until we eventually hit a brick wall at a point where we're playing against everyone who is again the same skill level as us. The difference between ranked and pro play though is that not everyone in ranked has the same skill level with each champion or each of the popular champions that they decide to personally play, and this is why pretty much every champion in League of Legends is viable for ranked, normals, or anything outside pro play. Although everyone may be overall around the same skill level, it's completely possible for you to devote a large amount of time to an unpopular champion like Poppy or Fiora and still play well against your opponents in ranked, capitalizing on the mistakes that you normally would and even gaining some benefits, like having your opponents not be experienced in dealing with your character. You can play against a fairly skilled Renekton top lane, but it's certainly possible that you're more skilled with Poppy than he is with Renekton. He's not the best player in the world, he's going to make plenty of mistakes, allowing you to capitalize on those mistakes since you would know your champion better and end up winning the lane. Even if you play someone like AP Shaco and rely heavily on silly mistakes or cheesing your opponents in some sort of goofy way that someone would be able to counter if they knew it was coming, it's almost impossible that you'll ever get matched up against the exact same team 2 times in a row in solo queue. If you only need to force that one mistake to snowball and make sure your champion is viable, you can still do that every single game since you play against different people every single game and they'll never be able to prepare for it or know for sure that it's coming. The point I'm trying to make here is that anyone and everyone is viable in League of Legends, regardless if they're played at a professional level or not. Some champions are obviously inherently better than others, but that doesn't mean that you can't still outplay opponents or still win games with low-tier characters. If you have a champion that you really enjoy playing, go ahead and play them as much as you want. It doesn't matter who everyone else in the game is playing if you're able to make up for your character's disadvantages with incredibly smart and talented play. You might actually discover something really special. I have a friend of mine named Johnny who's been playing League of Legends for about the same amount of time as I have. Back when MacLeod was first released, he insisted on jungling him even though most people never really played him on release, other than the occasional player maybe throwing him mid lane. Johnny used his head though and saw the awesome jungle clear time he had with his saplings, realized the awesome ganking potential he had with his W, and jungled him for a really long time. Even though some people might call him stupid for picking it in Champion Select, he got to laugh in everyone's face when Odd One made Jungle Maokai insanely popular months and months later, all the way up until the jungle ended up being reworked, taking his viability down a bit. If you find someone that you enjoy playing, don't worry about what your team says or who's currently popular in the meta. No matter who you are, you can always outplay and outsmart your opponents with whatever champion you're playing, and win plenty of games, normals and and ranked. Thank you very much for watching, good luck in solo queue, and have a wonderful day.